You ready to start? Go ahead.
Yeah, let's go ahead and get started. Good afternoon, Kappa leaders. Welcome to our virtual college conversation. Right now, I'm going to introduce you to Mr. Kevin Barnett. He is our National Guy Right Chairman.
Good afternoon and greetings, and I hope everyone is safe and preparing for have a good Thanksgiving. Again, this is a series that our virtual college team put together, and they do virtual college tours, and they also do virtual college conversations and give you an opportunity to have some interaction with our undergraduate Kappas that are in college, and to kind of get some of their experience and some of their lessons learned from them. And so I encourage you to ask questions, participate, be engaged, and take advantage of the knowledge that's there. Brother Glenn, I'll turn it back to you.
Berman, did you want to do the video, Brother Barnett?
Oh, no, I was going to do that to kill time, but I said if you go ahead and kick off, I was going to do that if you're ready to kick off, or I can do the video. I was just going to do the video on the gaming deal, but that's 16 minutes. I was just bridging time.
Oh, okay.
I want to start, so.
All right, well, like I said, we're going to get started, Kappa leaders. We're going to start with some other introductions. We have our conversation committee. I'm going to introduce them, or let them introduce themselves. Brother Mary, if you can introduce yourself, please.
Good afternoon, everybody. Jermaine Murray, National Guy Right Commission, also part of the North Central Province.
And Brother Lee.
Brother Anthony Lee, Guy Right Director of the San Fernando Santa Clarita Alumni Chapter, by way of Beta Theta Omicron Zeta, Spring '86. Happy to be here.
And Brother Keys.
All right, greetings, brothers. Brother LaShante Keys, Southern Province Guy Right Director. Also oversees St. Petersburg, Florida, Kappa Lead Program. A member of Kappa Alpha since fall 2000 through St. Petersburg alumni.
All right, and once again, my name is Dreyon Glenn. I'm the Southwest Province Guy Right Chairman, initiator of the Alto Alpha Chapter, Spring '91. As we get started with our virtual college conversation, our topic will be what is the difference between a public white institution versus a HBCU. We have several young brothers who are going to those types of universities. I'd like to let them introduce themselves to you guys, and we'll get going with our conversation. Before we get started, just real dumb. Make sure your computer's on mute as other people are talking. If you have any questions, you can also put them in the chat. And but if you have any questions, just feel free to raise your hand, and we'll just go from there. For our predominantly white institutions, I'm going to go with the University of North Colorado. Brother McNeil, if you can introduce yourself.
How's everybody doing this morning? I'm Brother Tyree McNeil from the Omicron Zeta Chapter, Spring 20. I go to University of Northern Colorado. I came here from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. I actually play football here, and my major is sports and exercise science. I'm in my senior year right now, and I'll be doing my master's for the summer that's coming up.
Okay. And from the University of California at Davis, Brother Snowden.
Good morning, everybody. My name is Kyle Snowden. I'm a Spring 20 initiate of Kappa Alpha Psi Fraternity Incorporated by way of the Iota Sigma chapter. I am a fourth-year senior at Davis. My major is political science with a minor in African American history. I aspire to move on to law school, which I'm applying for currently, and my aspirations are to become a judge.
All right, and from the University of Wisconsin, Brother Donning.
Hey, y'all, my name is Brandon Donning. I'm of the Beta Omicron chapter at Kappa Alpha Psi at the University of Wisconsin, Spring 2020 initiate, and former Kappa leaguer.
All right, thank you, Brother Donning. We're going to start our introduction with our HBCU institution. Coming from Alcorn State University, we have Brother Gavin. Brother Gavin.
Hey, I'm Khalid Gavin. I'm the Pole Marqueer of the Kappa chapter here of Kappa Alpha Psi.
How y'all doing? My name is Josh Tyler. I'm the vice president for the Kappa chapter, Kappa Alpha Psi.
All right, so we have both those young men. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I know.
Both those young men from HBCUs, Alcorn State University, Brother Gavin and Brother Tyler.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
And last but not least, we have from HBCU Miles College, Brother Cooks.
Everyone, my name is Albert Cooks, Spring 20 Delta Tau.
Yes.
The chapter Pole Mark. My major is criminal justice. This is my senior year in school.
All right, appreciate it, young men, appreciate it, brothers. As we get going, once again, if you can put your computer on mute so everybody can hear, and we'll start our conversation. Let's just start off with you, brothers. I know you mentioned your major, your classification. Let's go with, how you got that far as far as being at your university, the classes that you took, what do you need to take more to graduate, and we'll just go from there. Brother McNeil, I'll let you start off.
So the biggest thing for me, I feel like I just kept myself in communication with my advisors. Being on the football team, we have academic advisors, so they make sure they keep us up to date on what classes that we need to take and what professors we should take classes with. Also tutoring. A lot of times people don't want to go to tutoring. They feel like because you're in college, you're supposed to be able to do everything on your own. You can still get that help by tutoring. So that's one of the biggest steps I can say that I took to get to my senior year and still hold a 3.4 GPA.
And Brother McNeil, what was your GPA again, being a student athlete?
3.4, sir.
3.4. Very good. Brother Snowden.
Kind of to go off of what Brother McNeil was saying, definitely tutoring is important, making sure that you are in contact with your academic advisor. I kind of had a different journey. I'm actually a transfer student, which means I went to a community college first and then transferred over to my institution. So for me, it was very important to stay in contact, like he said, with our advisors to make sure I was taking the right courses that transfer over to the university and make sure that I was going to be able to graduate within the span of what will be 4 years. Similar, I have around like a 3.5 GPA, so I've been able to uphold that by making sure to follow my student plans, my ed plans, and making sure that I stay in contact with all the necessary people who can help me.
All right, appreciate it, good sir, appreciate it. Brother Donnie?
Yes, I think they hit it right on the nail. Do not be afraid to ask for help and get help even though you don't need it. So I go to my counselor, I go to tutoring even before I even get a grade, or even if I get a good or a bad grade. It's just having that extra incentive to do well in your classes. So I try to, if there's any free tutoring on campuses, use your resources. Usually campuses have a lot of resources and a lot of people don't use them. So make sure that I also have a 3.2 GPA, and it's a lot of me using my resources, especially me being a biology pre-med major. You would kind of have to, because as you progress in college, your classes are going to get harder and harder. It doesn't really get easier.
All right, thanks, sir. Brother Gavin, Brother Tyler, you have anything to add to that?
I second that. It's very important to make sure that you communicate with your academic advisor, and also not be afraid to communicate with your peers in your classroom on help, because a lot of people are struggling with the same things that you're struggling with. So never be afraid to communicate. It's the main thing in college is just to communicate with the people who you need the most, and that's your academic advisors, because they're going to make sure you stay on track.
And also, being that you're at a HBCU, specifically Alcorn, we a little bit smaller, so we're able to have a relationship with most of our teachers and the people in our department and whatnot. So besides tutoring, you can literally go straight to your teacher at schools like ours and just, how's this? What is this? You can get the specifics right in front instead of having to wait.
And Brother Cooks, do you have anything to add to that?
Definitely. So what I would encourage you guys to do, 4-year plan. You always should have a 4-year plan with going into college. My campus advisor presented me with a 4-year plan and also my degree plan. Not only that, I got involved in SGA and other organizations at school to keep me afloat of my grades and my purpose while I'm at the college that I'm attending. It's a 4-year plan. It's an important thing.
Ain't each episode.
So let's talk about, you guys made a good point about your advisors. From an HBCU standpoint versus a PWI, your advisors, how does your advisor relate to you guys as far as, you going to college, or, how you communicate? I know some of you brothers indicated, hey, you need to communicate with your advisors. So how are you doing that? And basically, what is basically going to be the difference between your advisor versus a PWI institution versus a HBCU? I think, Brother Ty, you mentioned basically at the HBCU, you have more communication with that. So let's talk about that a little bit. How's your communication with your advisors according to a PWI versus an HBCU? Anyone have the floor?
All right. So at Alcorn, when we get the chance, for one, our campus is not that far. Even though we don't stay on campus, what we did is it's not that far to get from your dorm to the math and science building, which is where most of our advisors are. We go in, we can go upstairs, we can literally go straight to the office. Most times we don't have to have an appointment. The formality is that we do, but most times we don't need one. We go in, we can sit down, talk as long as we want to, or as short as we want to. Perfect example, my advisor, who was also my Kappa advisor, he also told me that do my schedule. He helped me figure out what it was that I needed to do and put me on the right track as far as my degree plan goes. So I think it's just easier to contact at the HBCU for the most part.
I agree with Brother Tyler. My advisors, well, UNC just isn't a big campus by itself, but my advisor's office is probably, I say, 5 minutes away from my house, and I stay off campus. My advisor is also my professor for one of my classes this senior year. So me and him have been in contact for about 2 years. As I would say is they change our advisors a lot. So my freshman year, I had one advisor, then I changed again my sophomore year, and now my junior and senior year, I've had the same advisor, and luckily he was my professor. But it's not that hard to get in contact with him. He usually asks us to come in his office, sit down, have one-on-ones, so we could talk about grades, what's our plan after school. He doesn't only just focus on like now. He kind of looks into the future as well.
Specifically on my campus, I could say we have about 35,000 students. So our campus, it's very hard for you to get a counseling appointment. Most of the times you're not necessarily in tune with that counselor because of the fact that they see so many different students. Sometimes you become more like a number. So you really have to go in with the mindset that you are going to get something out of it, as in you have a plan, you know what you want to do, and you know what you need to get from them. So you have to have a different mindset. It's very hard to get like into these type of appointments. You have to go through scheduling, which you have to make an appointment first, then they have to confirm it with you. It is located on campus, but since the campus is one of the largest ones in the state of California, it's very hard to get there.
And to build off of that, you do have to, UW-Madison, I know you do have to schedule appointments ahead of time, but we also have multiple advisors for different things. So I have a lot of advisors. I have an advisor for biology. I have an advisor for pre-health. I have an advisor for my scholarship. So going to a PWI, you're not going to really have that too much deep of a connection with just one particular advisor.
And I appreciate you, gentlemen. Brother Cooks, do you have anything to add to that?
Yeah, I just want to piggyback off. So I did early college at University of Alabama, and I couldn't get in contact with my advisor at all. Like, not at all. Like, I never seen the person. It was hard to get emails back. And going into a HBCU, I was able to meet my advisor in person and get his advice on what I was doing. Like, not only his advice on my classes, but his advice when it came to the job I wanted to do, things I wanted to do on campus. So it was a more relationship attending at HBCU than coming from classes at University of Alabama.
Okay. So based on what you guys are indicating, you know, as far as depending on the numbers of your, you know, classes or class sizes or even your campus, it just depends on how much you can be able to get with your advisor. So with that being said, let me ask you this question. Let's talk about your campus, the class, or I say the campus size, and maybe a class size of your classes that you have. So let's talk about that. You know, as far as a PWI institution, what is your size as far as being on that institution and class size and versus a HBCU? We'll start with Brother Donnie.
Well, at the University of Wisconsin, you can have very, very big lectures. Like I'm talking about hundreds of kids and a discussion section. So basically, the structure is big lectures, small discussion sections, in which discussion sections run TA. A lecture can have almost like hundreds of students, and then a discussion can have about 15 to 20 students. And that's how it is.
Okay, so for the University of Wisconsin, what is the total number of students attending that college? Do you know?
Well, it's probably in the 40 and 50,000s. It's a lot.
Okay. Brother Snout, I think you were saying in California, you're 35,000 as far as attending that college. What about class sizes?
So similar to Brother Dawning, our class sizes can range from over 100 students to 200 students, depending upon if it's a class that a lot of students will need, more so like a intro English class or something like that. But our discussion is where you have more of a in-person or in tune necessarily, like a smaller group, which will be about 30 students.
Okay.
Memorial said no.
All right.
Thank you so much.
Brother Tyler and Brother Gavin, what about Alcorn State?
From my classes with my department, typically it's like our school is only like 4,000 people. There's not a lot of people here. So typically with my department is the biggest department on our campus. It's typically around about like 75 to like 100, not barely that, but around that estimate.
Outside of that one, most of our classes are just about 50, capping out at the 50 max mark.
So when you just 50, is that for like maybe basic, like maybe like an English class or history class?
Most of them will probably be about either English classes or, like you said, in the upper accelerated biology class, you have 100 plus in the auditorium and whatnot. Just in regular level 1 biology classes on campus, there'll be about 50 people in it. The same could be said for literature classes or.
For example, a class like organic chemistry will have up to roughly like between 100 and 150 people in that one class.
But
go ahead.
I ain't mean to interrupt you, but somewhere around like general chemistry 1, it'll probably be about 50 students in that class because it's a lower level class.
Brother McNeil, what about the University of Colorado?
Our structure is kind of different. With my major in particular, certain classes I took, we probably had the max capacity was 40. Classes I had to take like biology and chemistry, those were the auditorium classes that were probably like 100 max. But most of our classes are like high school settings kind of. We have about 13,000 students on campus, but our classrooms, like basic classrooms, never that big. You can actually have that one-on-one connection with professors and stuff too. So.
Okay. And Brother Cooks from Miles College, how's your college in sizes, classes and students?
We have about 3,000 students at Miles. And as far as my class sizes, there's no more than 25 to 30 people in one class. Auditorium size, 40 max is what we have. So we have very small classes.
Okay. So Kappa, so what you think about that as far as if you have a decision versus going to a HBCU versus a PWI, HBCU classes, roughly 25 to maybe 40. The attendance of that university, maybe 3,000 to 4,000 versus a PWI, you're looking at maybe 13,000 or more. So that's maybe something, you and your mom need to talk about as far as, class sizes and stuff like that. What about tuition and scholarships? versus a, HBCU and PWI. What have you noticed about that? Or can you give us information about scholarships and tuition? Brother Cooks, I think you already on, so you can talk about that a little bit.
So with scholarships, so going in, I got accepted to University of Alabama with no scholarship at all with the ACT score I had. But going into Miles, I got a partial scholarship. And then when I got into the school, I received a full scholarship with activities. So it would be SGA, student leader, like stuff like that, granted me more scholarships, UNCF, more scholarships there. So you have a lot of people donating to HBCUs and want to give away that money so those students can have the opportunity to not have student loans to pay or anything like that. So I would definitely say with scholarships, HBCU have the most connections and network because there's so many people donating to these schools. And the school is willing to give you these scholarships. So that's what I would say for that.
Okay, Brother Tyler and Brother Gavin, is it the same thing at Alcorn State?
Yeah, Alcorn really give out a lot of scholarships. We have different, like, for example, I think if you have a 3.0, you can get like I think it's like a provost or academic scholarship or something like that. Yeah, the achievement scholarship, and then also if you have like a 3.5 or from a 3.3 and up, you can get like the presidential, and that's a full ride for all 4 years, covers every single thing. But yeah, Alcorn give out a lot of scholarships.
Yeah, they do. I think we was on the topic of going to different, if we had different offers from other schools. I think, well, for me, I got an offer from Mississippi State. I also got an offer from Mississippi College at the same time. I think as far as they gave me a scholarship, I think it was $3,000, but I ended up choosing to come to Alcorn mainly because they had, I was in band, so they gave me a bigger scholarship for band, almost a full ride. And they also, I think I wanted to be in the band, and I also wanted to participate in some of the organizations on campus here, specifically even before I got out of high school. So they kind of made my decision easier for me.
Okay. All right, PWI, Brother McNeil, can you give us information about scholarships and maybe tuition?
So for the tuition that I've seen in state, I noticed it was probably like around 9,000 to 14,000. And then out of state for students like me, it's probably around 25,000 to 30,000. But I came on a scholarship for football. Thank God it was like a last minute scholarship. So I don't have to worry about it, but I do know I have like teammates and students that I've met that says like the out of state tuition is pretty expensive. So it's a lot of in-state students that's here.
Okay. So as far as you going to University of Colorado, I think your scholarship is basically based on your athletic ability.
Yes, I had scholarships for other schools for academics, but for Colorado, yes, it's strictly athletics.
Okay. All right. Brother Downey, you have any information for us about scholarships?
Well, I know at the University of Wisconsin, I came in on a scholarship, but once on an academic scholarship, but when I got in, I was able to get more scholarships. And we even have a database in which you can plug in your information, GPA, major, stuff that you did, and they will provide a list of scholarships available to you. So I feel we have a lot of opportunities and scholarships, and there's a lot of programs. I'm an out-of-state student, so that was very crucial for me to be able to have access to programs like CAE. I'm in LNS Honors. I know our school has things like the People program that provides full rides. There's a lot of aspects to tend to their students to be able to stay at school.
Okay, appreciate it, sir. Brother Snowden?
A lot of the scholarships that Davis has to offer can come from either the school, outside sources, like similar to Brother Dawning. They have a lot of resources on campus that actually sets you up with scholarships that you can apply for through the school. They also have like this large book that has all these different scholarships that you can look and see the qualifications that you have and see how you can apply for those. Davis is about 14,000 if you are in state and about 44,000 if you're out of state. So.
All right. And then with that being said, I know we're talking about tuition. Brother Snowden is talking about tuition at his university. Brother Cooks, do you know your tuition as far as your university at Miles College?
So at Miles College, our tuition would hit probably like let's say 15,000 a year. That's what our tuition is like. So each semester, you're looking at about $8,000 to $9,000.
Okay. Okay.
School, especially if you're on campus. On campus, it goes up even higher then because you have to pay for room and board. But 15,000 is max at Miles.
Okay, Brother Tyler, Brother Gavin, do you know tuition at Alcorn?
It's like 18,000, right? Tuition is 18,000. Yeah, it's like roughly like 18,000, between 18 and 20,000.
All right. And I think Brother McNeil, did you give your tuition? I think you did, right?
Yes, for in-state students, it's around 9 to 10,000, and then for out-of-state, it's like 25 to 30,000.
Okay. So we're gonna pause right here a little bit. You Kappa leaders, if you have any questions, feel free to chime in now. Do anyone have any questions to ask these undergraduate brothers? You may do so right now if you have any questions.
We seen it. It was a question in the chat about one of the Kappa leaders asked regarding after they go to a community college and they go transfer to a 4-year college, whatever case may be, can they still join Kappa Alpha Psi? There's no time limit. You can join throughout those 4 years. If you had a 4-year institution, you can still join.
Okay, so I think Zay, I hope that answered your question about the 2-year and trying to join Kappa Alpha Psi. So if there's anyone ask a question in person, feel free to do so. Or you can do it on the chat, doesn't matter. All right, we have Tyler Biggins. They said, how difficult are the classes? So I want to use that question. Tyler is saying, is there a difficulty in classes versus a HBCU and a PWI institution? So we'll start with Brother Dawning. What do you think about your classes? Are they difficult?
Me being a biology pre-med major, I take some of the hardest classes on my campus. It kind of depends on, it's not gonna be easy. College isn't easy for anybody, but your major does kind of, it's like what you're good at and what you're like passionate about. But I have some very difficult classes, but your major does go into how difficult your classes are, and your difficulty is up to you and how far you go. So if somebody who is not a STEM major is not going to take too many chemistry or biology classes. But if you are but I don't have that many writing classes, me being a STEM major, if that makes sense.
Okay. Brother McNeil.
I would say same thing that Brother Donnie was saying. Some of your classes are hard, just depends on what classes you're taking. I feel like for the most part, with classes being hard, like we said in the beginning, take that approach to go to tutoring. That's some of the best ways to help you, and then put things that you learn in real life situations. It'll make the classes much easier than it seems, but you just got to find that way to maneuver through it.
Okay, appreciate it. Brother Snowden.
Basically, to kind of go off of what both brothers had already said, it is really about what classes you're taking. I mean, what major you're in. Some majors have different requirements, so they require for you to take classes that are harder. And at some points, you have to, in a sense, play to your strengths and play to whatever, or what is most interesting to you. So some classes are going to be harder because it may not be as interesting, so it may be harder to be engaged. And so, like you said, going to tutoring and doing things like that can really help with your classes not being as difficult.
Okay. And brother Tyler and brother Gavin, are you excuse me, are y'all agreeing with that as far as being at a HBCU? Depends on your major.
Yeah, we definitely can second that. As far as the classes, of course, will be harder. Us being biology majors, for example, we have our department is big and we take like harder classes, but for the most part, we have help. So that I guess that takes the load off to a certain extent. But yeah, the classes are hard, but at the same time, it's nothing you can't get past.
Okay. So with all that being said, I mean, we talked about scholarships, we talked about your tuition, really got into the culture of your HBCUs or PWIs. So let's talk about the culture of those two different type of institutions, and then we'll go with our next question following that. So what about the culture at a HBCU versus a PWI? Let's talk about, maybe football or campus life, the union center. Let's talk about those things. Help these Kappa leaders understand, hey, the culture, or, where you're going to eat at, where you're going to go and hang out, all that good stuff. So let's talk about those things a couple of minutes. So let's talk about Tyler and Gavin, since y'all are already on here. Tell us a little bit about Alcorn, the culture of Alcorn.
Man, Alcorn, the football games, homecoming, it's just a whole different experience. Going to HBCU have brought a lot to my eyes. Like it's literally amazing because you meet different people from all over the world. You come together, same people, you the same person. You can relate to them. Just the games, the environment here is just feel like when you go to HBCU. I'm not saying with a PWI you don't feel like home, but at my HBCU I feel like I'm at home.
And as far as the eating places, we are in more of a rural area down here. So for the most part, that's why we're so family oriented, because we're here and we don't have much to go to. The best restaurants are either 20, 30 minutes down the road, or the same in the opposite direction. So for the most part, we got restaurants on campus at Union. I think we have Wow, we have Sub Connection. We used to have Pizza Hut. What else do we have?
That was about it.
I think that's about it. Yeah. So we got eating options, but as far as us, we're in more of a rural area, so we can't do as much as other schools will be able to do.
Okay, Brother Cooks, what do you think about Miles College? Tell us a little bit about the culture at Miles College.
Well, at Miles, we have a diverse culture. I would most definitely say that. But when it comes to being a student at Miles and the privilege we have, it's overwhelming, to be quite honest with you, because it's like we have other PWIs around our school, and we have local chapters as well, and they come to our campus to hang out. They come to our campus to have a stroll off event, anything that's pertaining Kappa, or the Nuke life. They come to our school because of the privilege we have. We practically run the yard on our campus. There's not much competition, I would say that. And even if it's where, we probably would still run the yard. But beside that, we don't have much competition with a HBCU. It's strictly focused on the students and strictly focused on the history of what at a HBCU. I'll say, and then on Wednesdays, we have fried chicken Wednesdays. That's an important part of the culture. That stands out to a lot of people. That actually got me to go to Miles. I have fried chicken Wednesdays. We have a lot of mixtures on campus where we have music, we have dance off. Like it's just a lot of art at Miles. You got so many different type of cultures. So it's not one culture. I can't say, well, it's just one culture. It's just a lot. It's a HBCU, but not everybody is the same with that.
Okay, I appreciate it. Brother Snowden, what about your university? Tell us a little bit about the culture of your university. Snowden, I'm sorry.
No problem. At Davis, it's kind of like you have to create your own experience of what you necessarily want to get out of your college. Because of the fact that Davis is so large, they have a little bit of everything for everybody. So whatever you're interested in, you're able to go and do that. They have clubs for all types of stuff, because we have like a lot of recreational centers and things that you can go do. So you got a lot of sports clubs, you got a lot of organizations, whether it be Black Greek Letter, whether it's business, whatever it'll be, you have a lot of options that you can do. However, our culture, you have to kind of create that sense of like how some of the other brothers were saying, like they feel that family oriented. We have to create that through like our Black Family Day or stuff like that, because we don't just have that natural sense of like a family. You more so feel like you are a number to do a task to, you know, necessarily get what you need to get out of the school. And if that works for you, then maybe that's something that you can definitely, you know, look into.
Okay, appreciate it. Brother Donnie.
With Wisconsin, there's a lot. Sport. We definitely have a big sports culture, both basketball and football. And on campus, we have one of the biggest campuses in the country. So there's a lot you can do. There's a lot of dining halls. There's museums. A lot of places to eat dining halls, like more than 10. The thing with PWI though, there's only 2% of Black people on the campus, so our community just tends to stick together in a strong way. Especially Greek organizations and fraternities and sororities, we tend to kind of all be within one. Especially in our association, we have a Black student union. We have a lot of stuff to keep us kind of together, even though there's a big white population. And so it's kind of what you make it, because there's a lot you can do on our campus. Like Brother Snowden said, we have a lot of rec sports, anything you want to get into, film, film, athletics, even if you're not even an athlete, art, this band, all that is.
Okay, appreciate it. Good brother, appreciate it. Brother McNeil, you want to add to that?
Yes. The culture here at UNC is pretty odd, being that there's not that many Black students on campus. But like Brother Donnie said, we do have organizations and programs that you can't get into, and most of the Black fraternities and sororities are connected as one. We have a Marcus Garvey Center, BSU, ASU. Our university center, like the food is pretty different. It's not what you would expect. It's mainly like breakfast food. It's probably what, 1 or 2 spots for like lunch and dinner that you can go to in our university center, but it's not that big of a building. The way they set up our dining halls, it's like you have one on both sides of campus, because we have 2 split campuses, but they're not that far apart. So you have one on the main campus and then you have one on the central campus, but they're real small dining halls. Like they're not that big. So most people would prefer to stay off campus. And then there's like small places, Chipotle, couple of sushi spots. We're close by downtown, so there's a lot of food spots there that people will go to. But our culture is kind of odd, but you gotta make it what you want it to be.
Okay, I appreciate it. So with all the things that you guys have talked about, here's my next question. So, think about all the things we talked about. If you had to choose over again, would you select the same college? Now, I know scholarships go into play some, I'm using you, Brother McNeil, for example, but let's say you had another scholarship to go somewhere else, everything all put into play, would you go to another university? So with all that being said, if you had to start all over, would you choose the same university? And if you did not, what university would you go to and why?
Being quite honest, if I could start over, I probably wouldn't be here. I like it now that I done got used to it, and now that I met a lot of people. But if I did have to switch and like start over, I probably would have took a chance trying to go to Bethune-Cookman. Like just throwing scholarships and everything out the window. I feel like being at an HBCU, like some of the other brothers, they probably feel connected with a lot of African American students on campus. And sometimes I don't feel like I have that here unless I go to like the organizations like I was telling you. But I probably would change and go to HBCU if I could.
Okay, all right. So, Brother Dawning, same question. So, if you had to start all over,
I actually wouldn't, because of the opportunities that have presented myself for me. Like with UW-Madison, it's one of the only campuses in the country that allows undergraduates to do research, and there's a lot of different opportunities my sister went to Spelman, so I thought I went on HBCU college tours. I visited other various colleges, but I wouldn't change for the fact that what came with me coming with a PWI and the positions it put me in. So no, I would not change. But I did really consider the HBCU for the fact that one, I walked into the cafeteria and it smelled so good. When I was on the HBCU college tour, but there was so much aspects that came with going to UW-Madison. I would come here all over again.
Okay, I appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it. Brother Cooks, I know you mentioned all that culture and family oriented. So what do you think? Would you change a university?
I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. I most definitely enjoy being a student at Miles College, especially with the history and a lot to do with the civil rights movement, a whole lot to do. And I'm a part of that. It feels good to be a part of something great. Not only that, but Miles has opened my mind up to who am I? Why am I here? That's a question they ask us all the time. Why are you here? What's your purpose? That's an important question they ask us. So it helped me to get my mind out that enslaved mentality. And I just appreciate it. So I wouldn't trade it for nothing in the world. Like, feel good to be a part of Miles College or HBCU. Most definitely feels great because I got the connection with other local HBCUs that's close, Tuskegee, Alabama A&M, Talladega. Like these college, we're all one. It's not like separate. It's one big family. Like I'm a part of a family to all schools, not just mine. So it feels good to have that kind of support and love, I would say.
Okay. Brother Snowden, what about your university?
Kind of similar to Brother Dawning. For the opportunities that Davis was able to provide me, I wouldn't want to change it. But for the experience wise, I definitely would have preferred to go to HBCU. Definitely, I was looking at going to Howard or Tuskegee. I think that the culture that the PWI necessarily gave me was not all of what I wanted out of my collegiate experience, but I just had to kind of create what I wanted from what I had. But I would say the opportunities like to work in the Capitol, like the government, like the Capitol, and do things like that, had to research under professors. That was something that I can't necessarily trade up. So that was something.
All right, I appreciate it. Last but not least, Brother Tyler and Brother Gavin.
For myself, I 100%. I probably will switch the institution I'm at, only because I'm a city boy and been in the country. It just ain't for me, like the environment. I can't really do it. And vibe with some of the things. So I definitely, if I was to go to another school, it'd probably be University of Southern California. I'll go with my second option.
I think in my case, honestly, I wouldn't give up the HBCU experience, but there are some days where you would just like to see how the other side of it would have been. So, but for the most part, no, I would not give up an HBCU experience at all.
Okay. All right. So this next question will basically pertain to the PWIs. I know, Brother Donnie, you mentioned the ratio about like 2% at the University of Wisconsin. What about Brother McNeil at the University of Colorado? What is your ratio as far as Black students being on campus?
I'll say it's about the same as Brother Donnie. Yeah, it's a pretty low percentage, probably around like 4 or 5%. It's not that many Black students here.
Okay. And Brother Snowden?
Ours is 2.2%.
Okay, 2.2%. Okay, all right. I appreciate it, gentlemen. So once again, I know we're asking questions based on the chat, and is there any Kappa League that would like to ask any questions right now? Feel free to speak up if you have any questions. So let's see if I scroll down here. So let's see. All right, so some of these questions, it's going to be specific, but if any of you guys want to ask these questions, you may do so. One of the questions for a biology major, which school you recommend? I think Brother Donnie, you might want to emphasize on that question. Another question was, does any of your schools have a good entertainment business program? So I'm gonna use those two questions. And then if anybody have that information, feel free to answer that question.
To be honest with you, typically, yeah, a lot of schools have strong suits, like you'll go to a school for engineering, blah, blah, you know, whatever the case might be. But with biology, you have to look at their programs and see how strong their program is and how also the resources that they have within the program. That's very important because a lot of programs don't have the proper tools and things that you need to actually succeed in the program. So just make sure, you know, whatever college you guys looking at, is no particular school that you can look at that, oh yeah, this have an outstanding biology department or whatever the case may be. But just look at whatever school you choose, just look at the program and make sure the program have adequately trained people inside of the school.
Basically, I don't have much to say. I can go off of the same thing he said, to be honest. Like, I wouldn't change anything that he said. It's all true.
To build off of that with biology, like, it also, the things with my school that kind of came with it helped me with my major. So me being able to I do a NASA funded research that involves biology. So that helped me with my classes. So it's kind of what you try to get into on top of your classes. So, but I would definitely, my school is probably very good for biology for the fact that it has a lot of aspects that will, outside of your actual classes, that will help you be prepared for down the line biology classes and down the line organic chemistry classes and biochemistry classes.
Okay. All right, so we're going to move on to another question or questions based on 2020, racism. You know, think about all the things that we have seen this past year. You know, Black Lives Matter, races, you know, things like that. Based on your college or your university where you at, as a Black man, how was the culture when specific news came about as far as Black Lives Matter or some kind of racism that took place? You know, how was the culture there? I mean, did you feel uncomfortable? You feel safe? You know, did you unite as a group? You know, tell me those things.
I can definitely speak on that, especially University of Wisconsin, and actually what happened in Kenosha definitely affected us. Going to a PWI, there are a lot of people. There's a lot of white people at my school, and a lot of the white people have not seen Black people before, like I said before, unless it was on TV. So, and they don't really understand, like when the BSU, ASU do protests and all that, a lot of white kids don't really understand this, believe it or not. And in this day and age, there's a lot that comes with it, with being the PWI. There's a lot of kids who have certain values. You be like, what? Like, and so it kind of, it's not gonna lie, it's hard to be a Black student in the PWI. You could be in a class and all the kids around you are white or Asian. Especially with my biology, being my biology major, there's not too many biology pre-med Black men. So when things like what's going on in 2020, 2016, 2016 election, all that happens, you do feel it. You do get the energy around you. You see it. You plain as day see it.
Anybody else want to chime in?
Yeah. Oh, go ahead, Brother Snow.
Oh, for sure. I definitely agree with Brother Donnan because it is definitely difficult to be a Black man on a PWI campus. And like him, I'm one of the only Black kids a lot of the times when I'm in my class. I mean, there's not a lot of us, so there's a lot of other individuals, specifically being in California. You have a lot of people who they're just like all over the place, so they will kind of come, not necessarily after you, but they will look at you like, why are you here? So you almost, but it gives you inspiration every day to prove to them why you are there, and that you can do that, like you can do anything and everything that they're doing and more. So
Bert McNeil, what about University of North Colorado?
Yep, going off both of what Brother Donnie and Brother Snowden had both said, it does feel weird when you like the only Black student in the classroom. But some of our professors, they try their best to try and be sympathetic about the situation. You still see some of those students, and with the city that I'm in, you see a lot of supporters on the other side, and they don't agree with what we're protesting about or what we have going on. But athletic wise, we made sure we all came together. Like all sports, we'll get in a Zoom call. A few students from each sport will just talk about how they feel. What could any of the white counselors, advisors, coaches do to help us out? And we've actually had a meeting like Thursday, and we came together, been making shirts, putting out flyers to like support what's going on. But it does feel kind of hard sometimes when you like that only Black student in the classroom and you know that people are looking at you different.
Okay, appreciate it, sir. Appreciate it. Brother Tyler, Brother Gavin, how does it, what was the culture as far as, being at Alcorn State and being a predominant Black university? How did y'all react or do things at Alcorn?
Well, I think for us, it wasn't that big of a change for us, being that, basically every day is like that. 92% of our campus is Black students, and the rest are other ethnicities. So we are the majority at our schools. So we didn't really feel as much of a racial impact. But as far as the BLM movement goes, we got shirts made and we walked around campus. But honestly, that's kind of just how it goes at the HBCU for us, or at Alcorn specifically.
Yeah. All right, Brother Cooks.
So I'm in Alabama, Southern Alabama rather. So in Birmingham, Alabama, where it's predominantly white. So we had, being a student at Miles during this time, and also a Black man, the whole city gave to our school. They came and gave us, advice and talk. Like they understand how we felt. Not only that, the city of Birmingham decided to put a mural on our campus, Black Lives Matter, and it's 2 in Birmingham. So we have a big Black Lives Matter painted on campus that everybody come see. So we have a Black Lives Matter movement at Miles College. So it was a different feeling to me. It was more love and support, if anything, during that time. It was love and support from the mayor of Birmingham, big businesses in Birmingham, other colleges in Birmingham. They came to our school and showed support and participated in Black Lives Movement. So that's how it went at my school.
Okay, all right, appreciate it, gentlemen. So let's talk a little bit some good things about your college and university. Not saying nothing is negative, but what about the women ratio? Tell us about that. I know these young men want to know about all this. Where the women at? So tell us about the ratio on your campus of the women.
For us, Alcorn, our school is predominant. Is mostly women. Yeah, it's majority women at our school. I think it's like 70-something percent, 70, 80% probably.
They definitely double us. Yeah, almost twice.
Yeah.
Okay, so double the women at Alcorn.
Mm-hmm.
There you go.
Okay, all right.
So at UNC, I'll say the same thing. It's mainly women on the campus. It's probably like a 1-to-3 ratio. For every 1 dude, you could probably have 3 women.
All right, 3-to-1 at University of North Colorado. What about California, Brother Davis? I mean, Brother Snowden at California Davis. All right.
So no problem. So at my school, basically it's 55% women and then 45% men. So it's almost split kind of down the middle, but it's a lot more women in your classes than anybody else.
All right. Brother Downey?
Yeah, at my school it's about 51% women, 48% male, but there's 50,000 students, so there's no shortage of women on our campus.
All right. And Brother Cook?
At Miles, it's definitely more females. So that ratio would be, I would say, 4-to-1. For every guy, it's 4 females. I most definitely say that.
All right. So all you Kappa leagues, seem like Miles College is the place to go, 4-to-1.
Especially in this life, I would say that.
All right, that's good. Hey, you guys, now you know we were just kidding about this ratio. Now, I mean, I know we were talking about the ratio, but don't just go to college for just for the women. You're going for education. Based on we're running down Kappa as far as our hour, but as far as you undergraduate brothers, is there anything you would like to add or talk about that we have not discussed in our virtual college conversation? So feel free to add anything that we might have missed, or you want to just add something to the conversation that you think the Kappa leaguers need to know or want to know.
I'm from Alcorn once again. For you guys, just when you go into college, man, stay true to yourself. Focus on your main goals. Set goals for yourself. Don't ever lower your standards. Surround yourself around positive people, because I'm telling you, in college, that's very important to be around like positive influences, because you have to understand you're going there for one thing, and that's to get an education and to graduate. So, it's cool to pledge and all that stuff like that, whatever, but remember your main goal and your focus.
To build off of that, one word that I like to say, discipline. Especially during this pandemic, you gotta stay disciplined. You're gonna be tired. You're gonna have a lot of workload. You're gonna have, if it wasn't the pandemic, outside factors. It could be parties all the time, but you just gotta stay disciplined, true to yourself. And also, when you're applying to colleges, look at the colleges that show you love. Like, you might want to go to a certain college, but it could be 2-3 other colleges that's really showing you love. Like, really look at what's showing you the most love, not of the standard of, oh, this is a big school. Oh, this school is this, and this. If a certain school is showing you love, no.
All right. Anybody else?
Yes, I just want to piggyback off what the brothers was already saying. Again, like we already said in the beginning, do not be afraid to use your resources. Y'all asked about classes. Classes do get tough, so don't be hesitant, to go talk to your professor if you need to go see a tutor. Those are like big things to keep your grades up. Because there's been times where it's been real stressful and hard, but as long as I went and asked for help and tried to reach out, somebody was there to help me. Another thing, try and be in organizations. Like, I'm not saying you need to force yourself to do it, but especially if you go to PWIs, you might want to get yourself in some organizations to make you feel like you're around people that make you feel back home. That's a big thing for me. And again, regardless if you have an academic or athletic scholarship, always give your best foot, whatever it is. Do something that's going to make you happy and not just what you feel like you should do or what's going to make you the most money.
I just wanted to kind of go off and kind of everything that the brothers have been saying is definitely great information. And I definitely just want to say that you have to really create your own collegiate experience. Whatever you want out of that school, you have to create that. And you need to know that at the end of the day, there are resources, there are a lot of help. I mean, like, I see brothers dropping their information. Utilize these things, because we are going through these things now, so we can help you and make sure that we help you, put you up on game that we didn't know back then, because we're experiencing it right now. So those are definitely things that, and also too, you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable. It's gonna be awkward. Whether you go to a HBCU, whether you go to a PWI, you have to be comfortable with the uncomfortable and get ready to put yourself in these things and realize that you're gonna grow, you're gonna learn a lot about yourself, and at the end of the day, you will succeed.
I'll just say this. When going into college, do a 4-year plan. That'll be the most important thing that help you out throughout college, your 4-year plan. And join different organizations. Like I did SEA, one of the best decisions of my life. I was able to travel. I was able to get to know other people. I was able to network, join different organizations for sure. And utilize your college experience. You have to utilize it, because if you don't, you just really there for nothing. Just to get, college is more than a degree. It's networking, it's communication, you building friends. It's just so much bigger than just getting my degree. It's a lifelong opportunity.
I like that. I like that.
that.
All right, gentlemen, we're gonna come down to our last question. I know we're running out of time here, so we're just gonna make this our last question. I want you guys to think about the, COVID, the coronavirus. How has that affected you as a student going to college? So, you Kappa leaguers, think about this even when you're going to school. What are the things that you have to do now that you wasn't doing when COVID hit? I know some of you guys may be doing virtual learning. So how are you able to adapt your studying or your college life during this pandemic? I'll let anyone start.
For me, it's been tough. I'm a biology major, so my major is really hard. It's a lot of our classes have been moved online, and it's really difficult to learn online. I've always been a hands-on type learner, but COVID, it really have stopped a lot of things. I'm a senior, trying to go to medical school, all this stuff like that. Between COVID stopping medical tests, their exams, and all that, and also interfering with different activities around campus, it's really just been like a terrible experience. But everything don't always go as planned, and you have to wing it, and you have to work with what you got. So as of right now, I've just been trying to make the best of my senior year and do all that I can during this pandemic.
And not to discourage, he talked about the educational side, not to discourage any new incoming members in the college, but as far as the fun goes, everything has changed given COVID. The events are few as they come. And if they are, most of them are virtual, so you can't get the same exact experience. But yeah, for the most part, yeah, basically any extracurricular activities have pretty much been watered down for the moment. So as we continue to advance through the pandemic.
Okay, anybody else? Brett McNeil, or you want to chime in on that?
Yeah, the biggest thing for me, my major is hands-on. So switching to online has kind of been hard for us. So some of the times me and some of my classmates will go to the lab. You could probably only have like 3 people in there max. So we'll go in there and they have, the little structures, dummy setup that we can use to work on whatever it is we need to work on. And now since we've been doing like a lot of strength and conditioning, like programming, exercise programming, it's been kind of hard. So we go in there and we try and like build our own kind of exercise prescriptions for people. It is real difficult, like I said though, but we try and find some way to make it work by going in the labs or the library and meeting with one another.
Okay, Brett Snowden, you have anything to add to that?
One of the biggest things that I could just say with the effects of COVID is that you really have to be disciplined because you are doing distance learning. At least my institution has been. So a lot of students aren't on campus. We're not really doing events like that. But you do just really have to be disciplined, making sure that you are keeping up on your work. I've taken it upon myself to do things like planners and do things that I normally wouldn't do just because the virtual learning isn't necessarily my strongest suit, but it is something that we all have to adapt to.
Okay. I would just say, as far as me personally, as being an educator myself, I've noticed, when our young men and women, no matter what color you are, being at a middle school or high school, it's kind of, I don't say hard to do virtual learning, but maybe you're not used to it. And then, you're at home. Hey, nobody's not making you do anything because, mom and dad's probably at work and it's like that. But, as these young men are indicating, you got to be disciplined to do your assignments. And if you're not doing your assignments, guess what? You're going to fail your class. So you can't just be at home, you know, being on your Fortnite, your PlayStation, your Twitter, or whatever you're doing. You got to take time out to do your work on virtual learning. So I'm going to just say that me personally, and I will say this even as an educator, most teachers are not giving you, and I'm saying on maybe the middle school or high school level, they're not giving you a lot of assignments. And when I say a lot of assignments, made of not a lot of hard assignments. And here's the reason why. Some of those teachers have to do in-person classes as well. So they're not going to do double work to you know, make them be stressful. So they're going to try to make everything a little bit less stressful for you being a remote learner. So just keep that in mind. But the overall thing is make sure you're doing your work at home, Kappa leaders. Make sure you're doing your work at home if you're doing any remote learning or virtual learning. All right, we're coming down to the end of our virtual college conversation. Topic was HBCU versus PWI. I'd like to thank all our panel, Brother McNeil, Brother Snowden, Brother Dawning, Brother Tyler, Brother Gavin, and Brother Cooks. You guys were very good as far as giving all our Kappa leaders very good information. Kappa leaders, I hope you take this information with your parents or your GuideRight directors. Talk about it some more with them. If you have any other questions, I think some of the undergrads are putting their information on the chat, so you can email them or, you know, get more information. So we do appreciate that. As far as our committee, Brother Mary, Brother Keys, Brother Lee, I think Brother Lee had to get off the call. Brother Mary, you have any comments?
No, this is excellent. Just to let everyone know, this copy of this webinar will be made available to all GuideRight directors. So we definitely want you to share this with your young men. I'm very surprised and very happy to see that a lot of the young men have already made a decision in the chat room about their decision to go on to college and where they would like to steer their college interest to. So I'm excited. Thank you to our undergrad brothers. They're awesome. This was very well received, and I look forward to connecting with you in the future.
All right. Appreciate it, Brother Mary. Brother Keys?
I'm pretty much the same. Just want to thank everybody for joining us. It's all about what you make it. I think one of the brothers did say, so whatever campus you choose, it's really about what you make it. And so definitely do your research. Make sure you're choosing the campus for you and not for family. Because I think a lot of times we do want to follow in our family's legacy and then go somewhere where we're not happy at. Choose the correct campus that's for you. Everybody's not made for a PWI. Everybody's not made for HBCU. So choose, you know, what is exactly for you. And to all my Rattlers and Bethune-Cookman people out there, I know we're going through withdrawals right now because this is classic weekend and we don't have it. So just shout out to the HBCU. Shout out to the Rattlers out there as well.
All right, appreciate it, Brother Keith. And last but not least, Brother Burnett, you have the last word.
And thank you. And again, for Kappa leaguers, I'd also say, because you make a decision on where you're going to college or what you're going to major in, doesn't mean that you are forever stuck with that decision. You know, about a third of the students in college, you know, end up changing universities at one point, and almost 40% end up changing their majors. So try to make the best decision that you can now, and, you know, just be flexible. And so again, I wish everyone a happy Thanksgiving.
Thank you, Brother Burnett. Once again, this concludes our virtual college conversation. The topic was HBCU versus a PWI, the difference between those two institutions. Once again, Kappa League, we thank you very much for being on this call, and have a good, happy Thanksgiving. And we will have another one in 2021. More information will go out for that information later on in the new year. Once again, thank you. You guys have a good afternoon.
Thank you guys for having